All right, let me just get this out of the way. I'm recording from Montecatini in Italy right now, in a little shabby
Well,
hotel room. So the Wi-Fi, if it
I'm
comes
in
in and out,
Rome. I'm in Rome, bro. I'm in Rome. So,
yeah, I was gonna mention that. Yeah, you moved there about 2002, if that's correct, right?
well, I kind of been living here on a regular basis since 2000, like around 10 years ago.
Okay, okay. And how does how does it compare to the States living here? I mean, because I'm just visiting, you know.
Well, I mean, it's a what part of the states? New York, Louisiana, Alaska,
Well, you're a New York guy, so tell me
Yeah,
about
I'm from
that.
the States. It's a whole different vibe, man. It's like life is first and business is second,
Yeah, yeah, I
You
can
know what I
understand
mean?
that.
It's more of a I mean, the quality of the food, just the quality of the life, man.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot more walking here, if that makes any
We've
sense.
been doing our business, but it's like definitely not, you step out of the rat race.
Yeah. Well, you're so busy making movies all the time. I mean, you got a movie a year for the last 4 years. What's that like?
I mean, it's what we do, so it doesn't seem like it's anything. We're not overtaxed. It's just, I guess, we're just lucky with projects we have and put them together, especially during the pandemic. We're pretty lucky with that.
Yeah,
So that was definitely a challenge. I mean,
yeah, I could imagine. I mean, we could be honest. You get asked so many similar questions on these sort of press circuit interviews. I don't want to ask the same stuff over and over again. Is
ask
there
whatever
some?
you want, man. Ask what you really want to know the answer to, and I'll see if I
Well,
can.
well,
How
this is
close I
this is something I'm genuinely curious about too. Like, is there something you wish people were more curious about in regards to your own work? Not so much the because I know you've been asked this a million times, like your obsession with like the end of stuff. I think that's like a trajectory your films have kind of followed for a while now. Yeah, this fascination with
can.
the end.
The end of what we're talking about 444.
Yeah, 444. Well, I think there's the fascination, in my opinion, in your work about like the end of either existence, a singular existence, like an individual, or the end of an era. Like a Padre Pio kind of is about the end of an era, leading into what will eventually become World War II.
Yeah, it's actually the beginning of World War II. I mean, that battle in that street, that massacre, really triggered the birth of the fascist party.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
first, that was the first free election, so that kind of triggered the the right and the paranoia of what happened in Russia. I mean, the revolution there just happened. And the guys, you start preaching communism 2 years after the Russian Revolution, you're gonna get a reaction.
yeah. Was this like the parallels between the era of this film, which happened in real life, obviously. Uh, they have very similar parallels to like what's kind of happening back in the States. I think of like the 2020 election. Like you have political characters in this film who also existed straight up say that the mayoral election was like they called it a fraud. And you got like
Yeah, I mean, elections are great till you lose, and then it becomes, but what level are you going to take it to? You dig what I'm saying? In other words, Gore did he get ripped? You know, did they rip him? You know, two people. Well, there's a baseball game, everybody's after the umpire, right? Now, what level are you going to take it to? You're going to accept it because that's the nature of the beast. You got 50 states, a whole crazy situation. Everybody voting the same night, whether you're using computers or your hand counting it in 1963. I mean, whatever. The point is, you're going to accept the outcome and you're going to accept that's what democracy is about. Well, you know, you can unleash the dogs, man, you know, which happened there and what happened in Washington you know, January 6th.
Yeah. When you were developing this film, because you made the documentary about the Padre initially, um, but like was any of that like did you ever realize that yourself as you were starting to make the film? Like, oh shit, like sort of these cycles continue, or is it just like
Well,
happenstance
it didn't
because
happen. You know, January 6th didn't happen yet. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I mean, the politics never change. You dig? The politics never change.
Mhm.
And so they're on either side. First of all, the question of the election, you know, the military guys on the right are like, whose fucking idea is this? I'm in Austria fighting for the country, and I come home and you know, whose idea was this to have an election? Give these people a right to vote. Number one, he's totally far right. On the extreme left, they're the same way. You know, when they tell them we got to get votes, they're like, hey, you think Trotsky's worried about elections? You understand? You think Putin is worried about votes? I don't think so. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You know, so it's like, I mean, the guy gave him the great answer in the film. It's like, you fought for it, appreciate it. So you're going to appreciate the election. You're going to believe in the election. You're going to believe in a democratic, you know, system, or you're not. You know,
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the power of belief, I believe you grew up Catholic, right? You grew up
yeah.
more, yeah, yeah. Same here, and I am no longer Catholic. I
What
think
are
most
you?
people. uh, right
What are
now,
you?
I'm agnostic. I'm curious about religions, but I'm not particularly religious, if that makes sense.
When did you give up your faith?
Uh, Funny enough, I was trying to lean away from political discussions, just to
In
lighten the
sixth
mood, but like
grade? In sixth
20
grade? When,
2016
is that when
pre-election.
you gave up your faith?
Yeah, I think officially that's when I was like, I'm good. It wasn't just like you know, the Trump and all that. It was a gaggle of things that built up over time, and I just realized I don't believe in any of it anymore. I believe there's
Yeah,
like
well,
good
Trump is
word.
not a religious guy. I mean, he's on your side, right? You don't believe in anything.
Well, I believe in people and art, I think. If I had to, I never really put it out into the world like that, but I think that's kind
And
of where
so
my focus
did
is.
you feel better now that you've accepted your anosticity? Now
Uh,
that you
I I think I do, honestly. You know, I've not talked about it too much lately, but I think I do.
right,
You know, I'm not overwhelmed with a sense of guilt, I guess.
right.
You know, but on a much lighter topic, I'm a big fan of your work, so this is like a
Thank
huge
you.
opportunity for me. Um,
Thank you.
and you know, you got your Bad Lieutenants, Kingdom New York, that have had lots of play in like film cult circles and such like that, right? But I wanted to ask you if you'd heard about like the recent renaissance with stuff like Body Snatchers, China Girl, New Rose Hotel. Because like I just saw Body Snatchers in a packed house at the New Beverly in Los Angeles last year,
Well,
and it
yeah,
killed. Yeah, it was like a fantastic audience to watch that with. Everyone just ate that shit up, you know?
yeah, right. It was you know, we had this story, Jack Finney. I mean, the original short story, like New Rose Hotel, were based on really powerful material, you know, original material. It's like kind of a great piece. And you know, you had the cinema scope and the whole, you know, we had it all going on. That was a big studio movie. You know, we had like a big budget to kind of, you know, buoy on. We really had a chance to like visually take it to, you know, our limit down.
Yeah. That's something else I wanted to ask you about visually as well too, because like all your movies are so distinct from one another while still like having your voice. So like I think of like a Tommaso, which is like use a lot of anamorphic lensing on that versus Padre Pio, which is unless I'm mistaken, like more spherical lenses, right? Like how do you find that look for each specific film? Because again, they all really stand out from one another.
The DP is, I've been, very fortunate, to work with some really spectacular guys, and Zeitlinger with Tommaso, that's Herzog's guy. He brings a very, he brings a look, man, and we bring a look by, what we're shooting and where we're shooting it. So the choices of the places and what time and the lighting, and when you're connected to the DP and Alessandro, he shot Napoli with me. He's also in that same school, and it was, for Padre Pio, we went without the electric lights, and we wanted to stay very true to the period in terms of, how do people see things in 1919, because there's no electricity in that town, at least.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I guess I want to go back to I realized I didn't really hammer away the first question, but like, is there something you wish people were more curious about in regards to your work? Like, is there a question you haven't really been asked? And you're like, I wish someone asked about this or that. No.
I get asked about everything. I mean, I'm good. I don't, no, there's nothing specific that I'm like, hung up about that I'm waiting to express.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why so many people are drawn to you and your works. You seem like you're a guy who's very passionate, obviously, but you're not overly sentimental. Like work is work, right? So you don't have like your Jekyll and Hyde idea that you still want to do, or I think there was like conversations a while back about a King of New York prequel or sequel. Like you're not very sentimental about those.
At the time we were going to do it, we were passionate about it. It didn't happen for a lot of reasons. A lot of them stemmed from where I was coming from at the time. It was a film that could happen. The script was good, but with these movies, there's always the moment for a movie to happen. And when that moment is gone, you just got to move on. I mean, you get your heart broken, and you get back up and keep going. You don't look back. If
Do you think that's that sort of attitude that comes with just time, or is it like a new belief system you just have? Like, how do you think you got to that point?
well,
You
I'm
can
thinking,
accept
the
that.
experience too. You go through it. In the beginning, you're, every day. You can't wait a weekend. You can't wait. I've waited 18 years for movies to get made. And I've done movies that we started the next day. So I know each one of they all are going to happen at their own pace. There's only so much I can control.
Yeah. That actually brings up a good point I wanted to talk about too. Like, you've been making films for a while now. Like, are there any differences that you've noticed in the decades over time? Like, what's changed the most about trying to get a movie made now versus when you started, Because you've always kind of had this kind of like guerrilla filmmaking style, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming from an independent place. We have Final Cut. We make the movie. We're not making any promises on this. It hasn't changed for me at all. You have to express your idea to somebody who's going to give you money. Okay, no matter what that idea is or how much money it is. Unless you're financing yourself, which I haven't gotten to the point of doing that. Okay, and even then, you probably have to convince yourself. So, you got to have something that's going to do that. Could be a 3-page synopsis. It could be a 50-page script. It could be a beautiful written Nikki St. John script. literary masterpiece. It could be just a crazy idea, you know. And you have to have somebody that believes in it. And you got to have the people who are going to be in the movie and the people who are going to shoot the movie. And they got to be in on it too, you know. And then because it's a team, it's a group effort, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I guess the last question I'll leave you with before I let you go. When people look back at your work, the entirety of your filmography, is there anything you want them to say or take away from having watched all these separate productions or
Watch every
experiences?
one of my movies from the beginning to end. I mean, it was
Maybe not in a marathon, just in general.
you know, I mean, there's so many people in so many places that watch movies under, you know, the craziest circumstances. Like, you know what I mean? You're seeing a movie, Body Snatchers, that's what? That's 25, 30 years old in a crazy movie theater in West LA. You know what I mean? With a crazy audience that would actually go to see that movie under the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember Body Snatchers when that was one of the few films, that's the only film of ours that was in competition in Cannes. Okay, and I remember that night, which was the whole different experience. And somebody could be sitting in an igloo in the fucking North Pole and streaming the fucking thing. You dig? Or somebody could see it 100 years from now, or whatever, you know. So, you know, it's not what I expect from them. I just hope people watch things, you know, with an open mind and just come into it, you know, and feel it, you know, without an expectation of what a film is supposed to be. You know, because a film could, you know, the possibility is infinite. You know, once you sit down, the lights go down, anything can come up, man. You know, you gotta be ready for anything.
No, thank you. That's a terrific answer. I can't imagine a better one to leave off on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they say never meet your heroes, but
Well,
this
here
worked
I
out
am.
pretty well. No, thank you very much. Padre Pio playing everywhere, June 2nd.
All right, yeah, you know the deal, right? June 2nd, everywhere. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate the intro, bro.